Have you ever wondered how a tiny island nation like Britain ruled over a quarter of the world's population and its land during its peak? This question has baffled many, but today, we attempt to unravel this enigma that is the British Empire. Britain, a small island nation, situated off the northwestern coast of continental Europe, is merely about 94,000 square miles in size. Yet this seemingly insignificant piece of land in the grand scheme of the globe once held the reins of an empire so vast that the sun never set on its territories. Let's try to comprehend the magnitude of the British Empire at its zenith, which was shortly after the First World War. Imagine a political entity that encompassed 458 million people. That's a quarter of the global population at the time. The empire's land area? Almost 31 million square kilometers, stretching over about a quarter of the Earth's total land area. Talk about punching above your weight. The British Empire was not only vast in terms of land and population, but it was also a global titan of influence and power. The monarch of the United Kingdom was the head of this empire, wielding control and authority over regions far-flung from its home base. From the Americas to Asia, from Africa to Australasia, the British Empire's reach was indeed global. Its influence permeated various aspects of life in these regions: politics, economics, culture, and more. The empire was a behemoth that cast a long shadow across the world. It was an entity that was feared, respected, and sometimes even revered. It was a symbol of power and prestige, a testament to what a nation, no matter how small, could achieve with ambition, strategy, and a bit of luck. Now, let's delve into the rise of this colossal empire, starting from its humble beginnings. The rise of the British Empire is a tale of exploration, trade, and power. It's a narrative that begins with curiosity and ends with an unprecedented global reach. In the late 15th and early 16th centuries, the British eyes turned westward, drawn by the allure of uncharted lands. The establishment of colonies in America and the Caribbean marked the first significant steps in the British Empire's expansion. The colonies provided a wealth of resources, from sugar and tobacco to cotton, fueling the growth of trade and the British economy. But the British Empire wasn't just about the New World. It extended its reach to the East as well. The British East India Company, founded in the early 17th century, became a key player in the empire's rise. It established trading posts in India, laying the groundwork for British political control in the region. The company traded in a variety of goods, including silk, indigo dye, salt, tea, and opium. The wealth accumulated through these transactions bolstered the British Empire's economic strength, paving the way for further expansion. Yet, the real game-changer was the Industrial Revolution in the 18th century. This period of rapid industrialization and technological advancement transformed Britain. The creation of machinery and new methods of production increased efficiency and output, leading to a boom in the British economy. The empire became the workshop of the world, producing goods on a scale never seen before. Furthermore, the Industrial Revolution also led to advancements in transportation. The development of steamships and railways enabled quicker and more efficient movement of goods and people across the empire. This not only boosted trade, but also facilitated the control and administration of the empire's far-flung territories. The British Empire had firmly established itself as a global power. However, the real expansion was yet to come. As the 19th century rolled in, the British Empire entered what many consider its imperial century. This was an era of unbridled expansion, with the empire's tendrils reaching out to untouched corners of the globe. Our story takes us first to the vast continent of Africa. It was during this period that the empire began to steadily colonize this resource-rich land, in a mad dash known as the Scramble for Africa. From the golden sands of Egypt to the lush forests of the Congo, Britain's influence spread like wildfire, etching a lasting imprint on the continent's cultural, political, and economic fabric. But the jewel in the crown of the British Empire was, without doubt, India. From the mid-18th century, the British East India Company had established trading posts across the subcontinent. But by the 19th century, the British government took direct control, turning India into the empire's most populous and valuable colony. The riches that flowed from India into Britain's coffers were staggering, fueling an economic boom back home. Meanwhile, in the Far East, the empire was flexing its muscles, engaging in the infamous Opium Wars against China. These conflicts were aimed at prying open China's vast markets for British goods. The eventual victory gave Britain control over key ports like Hong Kong, further consolidating the empire's grip on global trade. This was the height of the British Empire's power, its influence stretching from the Americas in the west to Australia in the east, and from Canada in the north to South Africa in the south. Its dominion was so vast it was said that the sun never set on it, for there was always part of the empire basking in daylight. By the dawn of the 20th century, the sun never set on the British Empire. Its reach was unmatched, its power unrivaled. The empire stood at the pinnacle of its might, casting a long shadow that would forever alter the course of world history. However, as with all great empires, the decline was inevitable. The British Empire, once the world's most expansive and influential power, could not escape this universal truth. A confluence of factors led to its downfall, beginning with the devastating impact of two world wars. World War I and subsequently World War II drained the empire's resources dramatically. The human toll was immense, with millions of lives lost. The financial burden was also staggering. Britain had to borrow heavily to finance the wars, leading to a significant economic strain. The empire that had once been the world's leading economic power was now in debt, and struggling to maintain its global foothold. Yet, the wars were not the only factors contributing to the empire's decline. The rise of nationalism in its colonies was another major blow. In India, for instance, the struggle for independence was intensifying. Leaders like Mahatma Gandhi were mobilizing masses, demanding self-rule. This wave of nationalism was not confined to India. From Africa to the Caribbean, colonies were clamoring for independence, challenging British rule like never before. The mid-20th century marked a significant turning point with the process of decolonization. Following World War II, Britain, weakened and financially exhausted, could no longer maintain its grip on its vast overseas territories. One by one, colonies began gaining independence. India, the jewel in the empire's crown, gained independence in 1947, setting a precedent for others to follow. Over the next 3 decades, more than 40 countries would break away from British rule. The fall of the British Empire was not a sudden collapse but a slow, gradual process. It was an era marked by a shift in global power dynamics and the rise of new nations. The empire that had once spanned the globe, ruling over a quarter of the world's population, was now a thing of the past. By the late 20th century, the British Empire had transformed into the Commonwealth of nations. Now, instead of ruling over its former colonies, Britain found itself sharing a stage with them as equal members of a global community. The British Empire left an indelible mark on the world, shaping many aspects of the modern world. Culturally, the British Empire has had a profound influence. The English language, once confined to a small island, is now spoken by more than 1 billion people globally. It is the language of international diplomacy, business, science, and popular culture. The spread of English was not just a matter of convenience, but a deliberate policy of the empire to foster unity and assert dominance. Sports too have been a significant cultural legacy. Games that originated in Britain, such as cricket, football, and rugby, were exported to the colonies and have since become worldwide phenomena. These sports are more than just games, they are symbols of national identity and a source of global camaraderie. On the political front, the British Empire has left a lasting impact. The democratic systems we see in many former colonies are derived from British political traditions. Concepts such as the rule of law, parliamentary democracy, and civil liberties were introduced and inculcated in these regions. However, it's important to note that these ideas were often imposed rather than willingly adopted, and their implementation was far from perfect. Economically, the empire's influence cannot be underestimated. The global trade networks established during the colonial era laid the foundation for today's interconnected global economy. The empire also initiated large-scale infrastructural projects in the colonies, many of which continue to serve as vital economic arteries. However, the economic legacy is also marred by exploitation and disparity. The empire's wealth was largely built on the extraction of resources from the colonies, often to the detriment of local economies. This has left a legacy of economic inequality that persists to this day. The British Empire, with its complex history and far-reaching impact, continues to provoke thought and debate. It has left an imprint that is both profound and controversial, a testament to its power and influence. With its legacy still evident in our everyday lives, the British Empire remains a significant chapter in the annals of human history. So, we traveled through time, witnessing the rise and fall of the British Empire. We saw its humble beginnings, its meteoric rise to power, where it governed 458 million people and spanned almost 31 million square kilometers. We also observed its eventual decline and the enduring impact it has left on the world. The British Empire, a testament to the power of exploration, trade, and domination, is a pivotal chapter in world history.